However, the warnings have been clear for decades, but the consequences are now undeniable.
Federal fish regulators are still absorbing the impact tonight of 21,000 Atlantic salmon infiltrating the space of wild salmon native to the West Coast. The farmed fish pose a risk to the regional ecosystem.
One expert at Memorial University says we're seeing abnormally high water temperatures this summer.
EFO closed 77 rivers across the province this afternoon.
He says larger adult-sized salmon can't tolerate that warm water, and juvenile salmon are also at risk. It was a similar story last year.
Well, what do I know about all this? I've only spent 23 years chasing for these fish on the fly and the past 10 guiding for them. But compared to the people making the judgment calls pertaining to the conservation of these fish, many of whom probably haven't even hooked Atlantic salmon, I don't think that's credible enough. I wanted to make this video because of a situation I faced about a month ago. I was asking myself, where can I still go guide? But what I was really asking was, were there still healthy runs of Atlantic salmon and where the rivers won't shut midways through the season? It's crazy because my first guiding gig 10 years ago was in southern Labrador on the Eagle River. We used to fly all over the south coast in helicopters and floatplanes, fishing rivers teeming with Atlantic salmon, without ever worrying about river closures. But over the past 2 seasons, from southern Labrador to across the island, we've seen mass closures due to warm water conditions. For those who may not know, warm water holds less oxygen, making it extremely difficult for the fish to survive, along with other contributing factors. But I'm no scientist. What I do know is that another troubling trend we're facing is the dwindling number of Atlantic salmon in the rivers. So why is the welfare of our rivers still in the hands of people like Jerry Byrne, a man who's taken decades to hold these so-called reputable fish farm corporations accountable for cleaning up their own garbage? Because this is Newfoundland and Labrador, and our government has a long-standing speciality, letting companies come in, run amok, and leaving a mess behind. As they run, we're like, oh, wait, before you go, here's some more money. Thanks for screwing us over. Come back anytime. I mean, look at where we are today. Newfoundland and Labrador has become a world-class angling destination, not just because of our own heritage, but because many other provinces and countries are seeing such poor salmon returns. We're one of the few places left where fly fishers still have hope. Has any regulator in this province looked across the ocean to places like Norway or Scotland? Have they seen the patterns of decline in their salmon stocks and thought we should learn from them? Why not look within our own country? British Columbia is phasing out fish farms because the science is clear, but no, that would make too much sense. At this point, I'm just regurgitating the same old story we've heard over and over again. We all know what the problems are, but here's what really gets me. Somehow, a person standing waist deep in the river, covering a tiny fraction of the water, casting a barbless fly that resembles nothing an adult salmon even eats, is the problem? Look at what's happening with the cod industry right now. Commercial overfishing pushed it to the brink of extinction, forcing a full closure. Over time, stocks began to recover, enough to allow for a limited recreational fishery. But now, here we are again, reopening it to the same commercial practices that nearly wiped it out in the first place. Meanwhile, the recreational fisher who, much like the fly fisher, uses the most archaic of methods, is still held under the same tight restrictions. Let that sink in for a moment. Listen, I think it's absolutely ridiculous that we've gotten to a point where teaching a kid how to catch and harvest a wild Atlantic salmon has somehow become taboo. For centuries, that was just the way of life. But now, because the stocks are that bad where, if we did let loose on the wild Atlantic salmon, there won't be any left. There are nearly 28,000 of us local residents who actively buy a license and take part in this activity. It's magnificent, but when the day comes where the government tries preventing us from legally tagging a salmon, we can't afford to make this an all or nothing issue. We can't continue this catch and kill versus catch and release battle, because both parties thoroughly enjoy this activity. We need to focus on the few problems jeopardizing our ability to go fly fishing for Atlantic salmon. And for us who do practice catch and release, we gotta be more sensible about it. We know when the conditions aren't right. I mean, how many salmon do you really need to release in a day? But we need to unite, Because in this battle that we're facing right now, something is better than nothing. Get involved with your local conservation groups like Spawn or the larger ones like the Atlantic Salmon Federation. And just try and be more mindful, you as an individual, how you can help protect this amazing species.